Yeah, that was weird. First time I tried to launch this, it decided it just didn't want to work for some reason. So let's get started. This is probably going to be the last one of these for a little while. For those unaware, I finally got an appointment to do my whole surgery thing. So that is happening in just a few days here, and yeah, pretty much going to be out of commission for way longer than I thought. Looks like it's going to be a month to a month and a half or so. So yeah, we'll see how all of that works out. But yeah. Away we go. Now, if I can remember which one of these was, I think it's this one. It's 8141. Yeah, it's this one. So we already made it all the way to 4. Yeah, actually, last time that's what it was. I was messing around with this build right here. So I was actually going and planning to go try to get the Dragon Slayer last time. Now, I don't quite remember why I was still in Parampa. I think I was the Dragon Slayer thing. Basically, the weird part of this whole situation right now is that, well, this is kind of the best damage and recovery that I'm going to get for a decent bit. Mostly, I needed to collect a whole bunch of tools before doing Hanging Gardens. So since last time, though, Hanging Gardens has gotten about 4 times harder, as well as everything else in Chapter 4. The updates managed to reach this point, so, you know, fun stuff there, so everything's going to be way harder. So I think what we're going to do, let me go look this up real quick. I meant to have the guide up here. Or not the guide, but the change log, so I can know what exactly got moved where. Because all the crafting books got moved around, all of the everything got moved around, really. So, let's see here. One Vision mod, there we go. Go to its information. So what changed since last time? Because we're now on 963A. So Enchiridions, let's see, adds the random battle of the 6 Temple Sanctum, that way you don't have to wait for the higher level version. The version of Pirate's Graveyard on Holy Ground when you have Azul's Tempest dropping Extinian Light Coat instead of Dark Coat. Apparently, they decided to correct that just because a bunch of original guides originally said the Dark Coat was there. So that's always fun. Let's see, crafting endgame weapons, you'll be able to tell in advance which ones are side grades. That'd be kind of an interesting thing to take a look at, but currently we are already inside for Rampa. So we'll look at that. Let's see, removed rubber, added alterite, so that's for your side grades. Classes, let's see, monster attack got transferred to natural attack. Abilities, Winter Siege will not advance the RT counter anymore, it affects multiple targets instead. Fine. Enervate will now properly remove Petrify, Berserk costs 30 instead of 20. Yeah, for a little bit it was 20. It was kind of busted. You can basically just spam Berserk all day. You can actually go positive spamming Berserk. Let's see, the one before that. Yeah, finish reworking the main campaign battles from Varnicia up to the last boss. Next line are the random battles on the map, Parampa and Pirate's Graveyard. Okay, level of these battles has been raised, so Hang Gardens will start at level 24 and go to 25 half the way up. So we're not in the 20s anymore, it's going to be in the 24 to 25s. Alright, let's see. Players have been given easier access to the first tier of endgame recipes that have gear of that level. Let's see, all of them will drop in the Chapter 4 section of Parampa and first 5 levels of Pirate's Graveyard. Okay, so there's a hell of a lot of changes. I'm just going to go down to, or I guess I won't. Okay, well, let's go get some crafting books then, since we're in Parampa already. Now, you might be wondering, why the hell Priest, of all things? It seems like kind of a weird one to go for, and that's, well, the finishers. There's a lot of good stuff here. Specifically, the laser move. Basically, it's your move from March of the Black Queen here. Get your multi-lasers everywhere. Get your frickin' laser beams. Now, what do I actually have on this guy? Og Light all the way up, and Still Light. Og Ice is working its way up there. Parry is 8+1, Cudgels are 8. Okay, so we're all set up as a heal nuke. What can I learn magic ones on him? Pretty much everything we possibly need. Good stuff. Okay. Yeah, this should be no trouble then. Should be No trouble whatsoever, and for God's sake, I ended up hitting the cord again. Okay, hold on, one sec. Let's get that fixed. Sorry, I gotta reset this thing every time I hit the cord. There we are. It lives again. Now, one comment I saw come up recently was that this looks a little bit better, as in the visuals are a little bit better than the vanilla game. And yes, that's because currently it is playing on a Vita. It'll have that effect. Right, this accuracy is terrible, but whatever. Actually, on a little bit of a side note here, I really wish instead of Masked Staff it was Cudgel or Mace or something. But, well, I think I have the fight variant, don't I? Yeah, modified for increased combat potential. That's where the parry's coming from as well. It's actually why you set up for that weird, like, pants and glove build. Getting a pretty decent amount of resilience while also being relatively light and everything else. Now, since this thing scales accuracy, as you can see, it does a hell of a lot of damage, but we don't have to worry about it getting charged up all the way. But basically, like I said, this guy is a heal noob at this point. So if we go over here... Actually, no, if we go over here, that should be both of these guys getting hit. Take the following rounds to heal up after that. It's pretty strong. The kind of unfortunate thing, though, is definitely the name. Certainly taken on negative connotations over the years. Yeah, Parry's doing a pretty good job. Unfortunately, even with rank 8 Cudgels, we're not doing very good on the accuracy front, so you're gonna have to work on that. But with Tactician and everything else, it seems like this would be a good one for spamming damage really effectively. Probably going to want a regeneration going at some point, though. Really, the main thing is we need a choke point, but for the longest time I kept saying that I needed to find some way to have a whole bunch of damage but still have a whole bunch of recovery, and this build is it. It doesn't have the raw, like, single hit potential of a two-hander build or anything like that, but builds TP like crazy, doesn't need to scale up anything, don't need any TP pluses or anything. Like, it's very solid. Ends up saving some skill slots in the process. Now that's a little problematic. Really, its main downside right now seems to be accuracy. Skill for Still Light, Absorb MP. Yeah, Drain MP, I think what I was thinking on that one was to have it... hang on just one sec. Boy, alright, didn't get to the mute button on time. I apologize about that. Random sneezes happening. Boy, that feels super weird. Anyhow, what I was trying to say is I think what I was thinking with... Dang, my brain just exploded. I was thinking something with something, but nobody's actually here to correct me on what that something was. That's alright. I'll apologize for later. Oh yeah, with Drain MP, the plan was to basically find any casters and just, well, save them more or less. So we're still doing okay damage, still doing pretty solid defensively. Can basically recover out of anything, can do a ton of pressure. It's good. It's a very solid build, I feel. In fact, this pretty well justifies what Rake was talking about the other day. Because there was a whole discussion over whether or not stabs and all that need to be buffed. And part of it was because of how good the finishers are. It's like the whole reason that they're relatively weak. These finishers are fantastic. So we got 228, 233, 224. Flanking here is probably going to be the best move, and then just move to where the parry was. Sweet. I got an Emperor out of it. So that's gonna do some pretty good stuff there. A little bit more health, even if it's only 2. Whatever, it's positive. It's a plus. Now, I think once we get to the crafting stuff there, we'll be able to do some solid changes there as well. Because if I'm not mistaken, that should give us, let's see, I believe that gives us the, either the Mage Pants or the Priest Pants, both of which are really good. It seems like a weird thing to get excited about what are essentially MC Hammer Pants, but they're pretty alright. They basically come with Stop Ward, meaning that we can get a few more debuff immunities going on. So we can combine everything together. It's a solid win there. Just go ahead and take the Devil card, why not? Probably take on a regeneration next round. Nice. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I was the only weirdo that really loved base builds in the original game. Like I was talking about it recently. That's one of the few things that I probably would change about the mod if I could. And it's only because bases sucked so hard that when you could make a successful build off it felt real good. It's like you basically just had your Baldur as your starting one, you had your Damask one, and you had your... I think it was literally just Cursed after that. Is there anything else I'm missing? Because I think that was literally it, and like most of your stabs were pretty okay if you had an AUG going. Actually, they were arguably pretty busted powerful if you had AUGs going. But either way, that's neither here nor there. In most cases, I probably would be setting up for a generate on this as well. But right now, it doesn't really make sense to do so. And I'm thinking over time, it actually probably makes a little bit more sense to go back to what's it? To go back to just the regular healer. Man, they're just dropping cards all day here. Fantastic. Okay, it's a fool, so it's kind of worthless, but hey. We're slightly more self-loyal. Maybe we'll just have a little extra snack or something just to feel better. Cleric class? Yeah. Oh, shoot. It just got stuck again. Hold on. Sorry about that. Yeah, this is a weird thing with recording off of Vita. Basically, if the cord gets all messed up, I have to reset it sometimes. I've never seen it happen this many times in a row. But yes, we are doing Priest at this point, not Cleric. So in One Vision, if you get Priest marks, however you have to get them, and basically the easiest way is just to steal them from Rompa. You get Kashua's class. It's only one of hers that you can get. Denim actually gets access to a lot more classes. It's pretty handy. So this is why Regenerate doesn't really come in too handy later on. Forgot that they had the spell. Music's so loud. Okay. Here. Is that better? Sorry, like I said, it's a little hard to tell. I think the main reason that I was using this one was in hopes of using Judgment a bit more, but there's really not much of a need to. Okay. Yeah, sorry about it being so loud. It's just kind of the nature of recording off a beat, I'm afraid. I never know exactly what it's going to be like. But yeah, I think we'll probably end up going back to Cleric eventually, but for now this is pretty solid. I don't think the stats are much higher than the Cleric, but they do get access to a different skill set. Tabula Rasa, though, would be fantastic to get a hold of. Which honestly, in either vanilla or this one, something like that would be just fine anyway. Because in either version you're gonna have yeah, let's go ahead and steal that MP. You're still going to have pretty dang powerful Cudgel moves, and you're going to have a self anti-debuff move. Although, I don't remember right now if it was all debuffs, if Mother's Mercy was... Yeah, I don't remember if Mercy was all debuffs or if it was just a single debuff. It might have just been single. Vanilla was pretty stingy on letting you remove your debuffs. Also, sure glad I put that haste on there. Lasted an entire 1 round. Rolled pretty low on that one. Oh, wait a minute. I've got summons? When the hell did I get summons on him? Oh well, whatever. Hi there, Mr. Cow. How you doing? Been a hot minute. But yeah, this is probably gonna be the last one for a little bit. Like I was saying earlier, a little bit of a disclaimer going into this one. I'm probably gonna be out of commission for a month to a month and a half after this. Basically, yeah, finally got the appointment for my surgery, so fun times. Oh, one quick second here. Alright, and back. But at any rate, at any rate, how have you guys been holding up? Let's just do that one for the hell of it. Oh man. I don't know if that's actually one of the new lines, but I don't think it is. That's hilarious. Did Tactics Ogre reference Futurama? I mean, I know it's the opposite. It's like, oh, the flesh is strong, but the spirit is weak. Instead of the other way around. The spirit is willing, but the body is fleshy and bruised. I don't actually know if that's from anything before that. It probably is, realistically speaking. But oh well. Oh. Alright, let's see if we can get a better haste going. Alright. If they do Dispel, I think they'll end up getting rid of Regeneration first. No, they're not going for it. So there was an interesting discussion on the AI of this game earlier. In which, yeah, it's funny because in a case like this, I guess it could be safely said that, yeah, even though they usually will spam Dispel like crazy and they have the MP to do it, yeah, the Snoo episode, exactly. Dude came in here for Fairy Snoo apparently. But in this case, the AI decided to attack instead of dispelling for once. Alright, 10 billion save fuzz later. I've got 2 different versions of this. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and save over this one. Just on the off chance of this chip corrupts itself again, I'd like to have 2 different saves, just to be sure. I don't see it happening, but, you know, weirder stuff's happened before. But yeah, originally I was thinking like going Poison Claws and shields and everything else was the way to go, but this friggin' laser beam method seems pretty solid. But yeah, hopefully everyone's still having a pretty solid apocalypse. Now, for anyone that didn't know about this map, these skeletons, they start off as neutral. Unless you do something to piss them off, or you alter the world state to the point that you've got issues, well, they're going to be neutral. They're just going to go fight for you. Typically, the AI will be the first one to attack them, because they like to use a whole bunch of AoEs, so if one of their AoEs hits them, they'll just decide to go against them. Other times, they'll just start off hostile to each other, and you can just sit by while the skeletons beat them all, because they don't have a method of exercising. Like right there. They're going to go ahead and piss off the skeletons, meaning that we're all good to go in, set up a regeneration, all that kind of stuff. Although weirdly enough, obsession with Fairy Snoo is exactly what the fairy run of Knight of Lotus apparent backstory was. Now, Mr. Vale probably won't be around for this one today, but yeah, he had a whole backstory written out for that one. And for God's sake, I hit this stupid wire again. I think part of it might be the wire that I'm using specifically, or maybe some of my settings, but I don't really have the means to fix it at this moment. So I finally finished up training for my new job after 2 weeks. It was basically just intense full-day training of everything. Oh. Really? Okay, fine. I will be still as a dang statue. Wait. No, it's still live. Okay, I thought it died on my end, but it's just the playback being weird. It does that sometimes. And yeah, these guys are already up to Venom Claws, so that'll just be any of the elemental variants, I believe. Which actually would be very nice to get a hold of if we could. Alright, so we'll just do a little bit of Instill Light here. Basically avoid hitting the skeletons by any means whatsoever until we completely overpower them. Monster units have seen several buffs since last time, and one nerf. Though I will say, for anyone that was curious about the, about Ogre League, that is still happening. Actually, I've built, I think, like 6 or 7 of the teams out of the 40 for that. Again, been a little bit slower, but still getting there. But I actually, one of the ones that I meant to do was the final boss of Knight of Lotus, which I did put in there, but I had to redo their team. Because the original plan was to have a modified Angel Knight for Share, have 2 different staff. It's like a truck. Yeah, this is basically a battle staff with maxed out cudgels, maxed out augments, and basically I've been grinding out cards every now and then. So, technically speaking, while a 2-hander could hit in 300s right now, this is definitely solid enough to make it work. Mostly this build is set up as a recovery and kill move spam type setup. So this it's a laser beams move, which I'll show off in just a moment. It's like basically he just sits here countering everything. We get +1 parry off the battle staff here. But basically there is a accuracy scaling, like more or less set damage move here. This should do pretty solidly right here, like 195, 221, 203. It's pretty baller. So this is what it's built for. Now, most of the time, you won't have a staff build that's this durable, especially in his case. So he's basically running gloves and leggings, so he's got a little bit of oomph to him, but I mean, his defense could definitely be higher. It's mostly because his health is so high that he's able to even survive this. It's one of the reasons I can't really take his necklace off. On top of that, it's one of the reasons that I really like to get a hold of the jewelry crafting book, which I think is here. I'm not sure. Right now, we're just trying to get all of the low-level crafting books, which will all be at the end of Harampa. They're 100% drops at this point. That's a pretty unfortunate one right there. I think that should just put them into points to be able to throw out another nuke. But yeah, I needed to update the class list, or like the weird builds list, to include this in there. Probably call it the Archimedes or something. Unfortunately, that skeleton is starting to be a bit of a hindrance, but I can't afford to fight him yet. Alright, can I nuke there? That'll end up hitting all of them. Alright, well, this will be a good test. We'll piss off the skeleton. Priest can use Starfall. I don't know. I don't think so. I know they get access to some of the Draconics. I don't think they can use Starfall. I never tested if this actually exercises on hit yet, though. I don't think it does. Because the Priest actually has a separate move that will exercise on hit. Okay, so no exorcism on hit, but it did get rid of their walls everywhere. They have I don't have it equipped right now, but they do have a move that they can essentially just delete the zombies as an action move. That was the main reason I wanted to get them. It was basically that and some of the offensive options, but then it turns out their kill moves were already crazy powerful. And the cleric already has a move that can basically permanently lock zombies in place, so we can just do that instead. But right now I need to do a little bit of recovery. Which I might end up going back to Cleric, because Tabula Rasa is just better than pretty much most other skills in the game at this point. Which is probably... it probably adds on to that whole pile of people saying that the Cleric is OP. It's not really that OP, it's pretty dang weak, but it's got a bunch of situational powerfulness to it. Like, Tabula Rasa is one of those things, like, it's instant removal of all debuffs. There's technically an item that can do that. I'm pretty sure that's the only reason they were given it in the first place. Because otherwise it would have been pretty busted if nobody else could do it. But yeah, Tabula is definitely the best debuff remover in the game by far. Which makes sense, you know, they are the premier healer class and all that. Priest is a bit more offensive, a little bit more exorcism focused. I believe at this point, Donalto isn't getting his unique exorcist class anymore. Like, I know that was in the plans for a while, but basically there's already 2 other priest classes that are doing the job just fine. Not to mention, if you really want to have the references in there, the priest actually comes with a pistol finisher. That's an exorcism move. So yeah, priest can use guns, but we don't have one yet. We'll get there eventually. And I'd like to get a hold of that card, so I think we're gonna step forward and exercise. We shall see. But yeah, the previous version of going through this with a two-hander and White Knight was really strong, but it was always recovery that was its problem. It never had sustainability. It had a whole lot, like, it was basically a battering ram. It went through, it did a ton of damage right off the bat, but then it always ran into the same issue of just running out of steam. And it was specifically that one map, the one where you have to do a giant circle around the entire place. But we'll see if we can finally get past it. 216, this is doable. We go here, they should have no reason to go for those cards. They should take out one of them. Next round we do an exercise, take a card. After that we'll see what the skeleton decides to do. Sometimes you'll actually have your Chaos Frame in such a place... I believe these guys are Chaos Frame focused, I'll be honest, I don't know, it's really weird how they act. Because in some cases, like right here, technically speaking, like, I don't know if it's because my stats are higher, I don't know if, you know, who knows what exactly, but right now we're in a position where, like, he will not attack me more than likely. If he didn't attack me there, he probably won't attack me, and I really want that bigger card right now. No sense in absorbing MP. Please miss. Okay, good. Now, will he attack? If he has a finisher, then we're screwed. No, he just won't attack. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, you can wind up with some weird stuff sometimes. Now, do we have anything that'll bind? So double hit and stun, shackle. There's really no sense in going for any of that. Like, Sanctuary would be real nice to have right here. I think what we're gonna do... let's just do a regeneration, just in case. Could go for a heal 3, but I just like regeneration effects. See, like right there, he's getting into position to attack, but he doesn't feel like attacking. And before somebody says, like, oh, the mod broke their AI, no, it was always like this. These guys are really weird like that. And there we go, tons of stats out of that. And then I think, just for the hell of it, we're gonna go for one of these this time. Mr. Brax, why are you whining? Sorry, one of our dogs has been in a bit of a mood these last few weeks. He, like, to make a long story short, we previously had more dogs, let's just put it that way. Unfortunately, and, well, for some reason it's just, like, he needs snuggles all the time now, which, okay, it's adorable, it's awesome and everything, but then sometimes he'll just be like, I need pets right now, there's more pets. There's just never enough pets. Which, I mean, We were understanding for a long while about it. But then after a little while, it's like, okay, it is like 4 in the morning. Could you please stop headbutting me for snuggles? I get it. I understand. We're sad too, but chill. Alright. Now, I'm not sure if there actually is anything on this map. I will say, I don't know exactly what maps have what, and I know that the crafting books aren't guaranteed drops one way or another. I don't think we need to exercise anything to get them. Generally speaking, most of the mentality of the mod is to just not be douchey, so typically it's not hidden behind that kind of stuff. I want to say on the list there was one enemy. I forget who exactly. There was one specific enemy that needed to be exercised. So, we'll see. But anywho, like I was saying, spent about 2 weeks training for this this new job. So I'm really, really hoping it ends up working out there. This whole sales type situation. But I think once recovery happens, it might end up actually going back to the whole camera type setup, because funnily enough, that's part of the job. Basically a video, it's like a sort of digital meeting sales type situation. As I break the video again. Brilliant. But yeah, if anyone needs a deal on Windows, let me know. Okay, it's not necessarily like... Nah, whatever, I'm just gonna shut up on that. Here. What we need to do is back up and recover a little bit, because they got way too many hits off there. Yeah, this is dicey. Now, we might just have to hold off on this map for the moment. Unless we get a whole bunch of blocks and parries here. I mean, like, I will say, looking at this again, yeah, the quarterstaff doesn't really... I know it's a battle staff or whatever else. I like calling it the quarterstaff. It doesn't feel like it needs much of a buff, because they're definitely set up in a kind of like defend and smack away type thing, so thematically it works really well. Well, dang, I step away for 1 second, get eaten by zombies. What is this? Alright, let's try this again. Yeah, daughter got up a little early. Needed them breakfasts. Alright, well, either way, the notes said that we only need the Chapter 4 stuff. So we probably don't need to do zombie map. I'm sure we can do it. We've got the means to do it, but... Oh, crap, I just noticed. I actually never updated his gear, did I? We might be a tier behind. We'll see. Yeah, I'm not sure how many, Oh, hang on, 1 sec. Okay. Had to have a discussion on that iPad value. Volume. Yeah, I'm not sure how many folks would agree on this, but I always kind of wish that there were less tiers. Sun Spear, that's actually not bad. Yeah, so much stuff has changed since the last one of these, so... I mean, I'm kind of thinking we just... I don't know if we save the temples for later or not. I actually don't know exactly where the temple thing starts at this point. One thing's for sure, we're probably going to want to regenerate here, because that is a lot of damage coming in, and not a whole lot of decent odds to block it. Like, 50s are not going to fly there. Okay. The 40% plus another 45% apparently will get through just fine. Yeah, we're going to want to back up and heal then. Is there any way to sprint? No, that is going to be a lot of punch. Yeah, we're going to need some range here. Especially not great as them getting double turns. We're not slowed or something, are we? No, and I can only get a heal too. Alright. Options. If we nuke, we can get those two. That will still be well within range. We can get all the way to there. That would... No, that's not going to eliminate any of their damage at all. We step forward, absorb MP, can get her out for the next round. She shouldn't have enough to use a Draconic. Basically, yeah, at that point, yeah, we can probably dedicate to melee. It's risky, but it's worth a shot. Those, do the heal 3. And then hope everybody decides to go for melee. That was just a short bow, not the end of the world. He's going to go for ranged. Oh, and that's a slow. Yeah, that's going to be the death right there. Like, honestly, even if that had been blocked with a slow one there, we wouldn't have had much of a chance. Alright, that's fine. That's fine, we'll get the crafty books late. Or, yet. Do we have new sticks? Yes, we have the Graven Ash. We can go for a Fire Rod, make that even stronger. Do we get any new gloves out of this? This can give us some dex. That's not going to help too much. Overguard's going to be downgrades. Yeah, we're all right there. Do we get the wing boots? Do we want the wing boots right now? Not really. That's a pretty steep drop in health. I mean, it's a lot of avoidance, that's for sure. Some wing boots are pretty dang strong. What else? What other options we got? Go Raider Vest, pretty solid increase in defense, lose some vitality. Similar situation here, we can't quite go Worm Scale. Yeah, that's only 4 of it though. Let's see, this gives us 40 health, a lot of extra defense. Could just be enough to make this work. And then we just replace this, whatever it is, this Hog Ice with Hog Fire, which, yeah, we're actually kind of set up for. And that should actually give us a pretty solid increase offense-wise. Alright. And away we go. But yeah, normally you'd never have a character this freaking strong. Like, stats-wise, he starts off in about the low 30s, 35s. Vit would be as low as 21, so he's got way higher vitality than would be expected by this point. That's why I keep getting excited every time there's a Vit card that drops. Items, not really. Thinking maybe some sidestep wouldn't be a terrible idea, because we're gonna have a lot of bow shots coming in. One interesting note is that some of the little minor buffs, like the stuff you get from trajectory and whatever else, got reduced. In my experience, it's been reduced to about 2 to 3 rounds instead of 4 to 6, give or take. I might have just been getting lucky on that 4 to 6 before. But still, basically it just means the trajectory is more or less a minor, a much more minor thing, but still very, very solid. Can only imagine how much of a clusterfuck this game would be if you could actually get all of the information. We're like where they're just like, oh yeah, this will last exactly this many rounds. You know, this and this and this and this and this will end up affecting your speed exactly this much. You can minorly see that stuff, but not all the way, by any means. Right, how are we gonna do here? Let's see. Come on, you know you want to get close here. Yes. It's a good, terrible choice, sir. Good, terrible choice. Yeah, not very much increase in offense whatsoever. Right, so we know that that guy's not going to be much of a problem. What about you? A two-hander with an evasion build? That sucks. Evasion build, Fistman. Not great. I almost want to say that these look like they're redone, are they? No, they're not redone. Okay, they're vanilla. They're just spawning well. You want that Warlock going. Ideally. Well, actually, for the time being, we probably just want to stay out of his range. So I think what we're going to do, we're going to take him in still, take a whack here. As long as that doesn't... Oh, that's going to put him over. Alright. Then we're just going to back off real quick. What do we do here? We're good there. Do I have any strength cards on me? I would assume no, because I've been burning through those pretty quick. Yeah. So we've got one use of strength then of any kind left. Alright, so what we need is sidestep then. Where's that unicorn hair at? Or, sorry, ashes. Not the unicorns. There we go. Should keep the archers at bay, should keep everything else at bay. Yeah, we should be alright. Should allow for counter finishing that Beastmaster pretty quick. That guy, if he keeps using Aqua Blast, shouldn't be too much of an issue. That's the main one. Because Draconic is both really hard to avoid and really hard hitting. I think ultimately our best bet might just be hit and run laser beams. Now, unfortunately, that put him into finisher range. Main reason that I wanted to do that was to, well, it's ruined now, but I wanted him to be close. The hope was that the Berserk guy would end up hitting him. Oh wow, this guy's just ruined every part of his plan. Oh, please tell me the Berserk guy actually takes this bait. Come on, you know you want to. That's gonna be a weaken. Oh, and it missed. Good. In fact, we might be able to laser him pretty soon here. Which, even if... Now we're gonna be out of range for the lasers. Might be able to go for a sweep of the melee guys then? Wait, really? Didn't take the bait? Weird. Yeah, well, we're still at pretty much full health here. Yeah, we can laser this guy. And also laser all these guys. These ones. There's so many potential good lasers to happen. Because if we laser here, she's going to heal him, and then she's going to back off. The ideal would be for that not to happen. Let's see. Arrhythmia would almost... You know, actually Arrhythmia would be a KO. Right? Be like 360 or so. Alright. In that case, we're going to save that. By the way, summons are actually single target now. And sweet Jeebus, they're pretty strong. Go for this guy, I guess. Or maybe this one? There's a chance of just taking her out entirely. Nice. Priest drunk. Perfect. Perfect. So yeah, Rhythmia should do a good job one way or another here. And this is even unaugmented too. So if we end up investing into Aug for Rhythmia later, really dang good. Seems like a lot of the recent patches have boosted that quite a bit. And again, if I restarted the solo run at this point, he's still got like a 10-point vit lead, which it's not like we wouldn't have gotten there anyway. I'm still expecting by the end of this run he's going to have stats in the 80s. Because we're just collecting stats all on one character, but no. I think actually what I was planning to do in this one was to have this guy go into the woods and start collecting meats. But no, we can't use retreat, so... Wait, was retreat allowed for this one? I can't even remember. I don't think retreat was allowed for this one. I'm gonna have to check after this fight. Seriously, can't remember. Alright, how good can we laser beams here? We can vary laser beams. So much damage. Do we have any finishers coming in? I mean, we're still regenerating, so we should be able to recover out of any finishers that come this way. Any KOs available? Not realistically. Okay. Nuke it is. Yeah, that's pretty strong. I mean, this is basically the best of every build that I was thinking for this run. Like, the original plan was seriously just Lord with a healing build, but for Aug Dart and using whips. And yeah, no need for all that nonsense. Pistol. Got his spear, all well and good there. Blocking counter. Crit there would have been really nice because it would have finished that guy off. So we can at least take his MP. Make sure that he's not doing anything next round. Also, wow, that stuff can actually vary quite a bit, can't it? Yeah, the absorb MP thing is a little bit odd. It seems to sometimes have a variance of up to 5. I'm gonna try to drag them away from that casting card over there now that it's actually useful. I believe that's an MP card. Which doesn't seem like much, especially given we're at 244 already. To kind of give an idea, the only reason that you'd really want to boost MP is not because of the actual total MP amount, but the higher that it is, your MP will always recover by a set percentage. So the higher it is, the more you regenerate per round. So eventually you end up doing pretty good on that. We might have to take a risky nuke here. Please miss that. Alright, never mind. Okay, what are our options? Don't have a finisher. Okay, he's going for a Purify. Regeneration's gone, so if we did this, how would it look like? So dead, dead, not dead, dead. It would be 3 KOs, but I'm pretty sure we'd be toast after that. That's a shame. That's a shame. If even one of those had missed, it'd be in pretty fantastic shape. Just re-up and still, I guess. Actually, the better option wouldn't have been in still, it would have been to take the guy that was using Ripple. Well, that's fine, we should be putting out damage all the same. In fact, this guy might not even have Draconics on him. I almost kind of wonder, whenever Farampa does get fully remade, I wonder how, well, this guy does have Draconics. I wonder how it's going to end up looking. Because, yeah, Draconics are really strong in this place. I mean, they've basically been the main hurdle running through everything. just because of how consistently they can keep throwing out like 180s and stuff like that. Might continue to be stuck here. Please parry. Whew, good. That was a lot of damage. It's actually interesting how parry, terrifying, or Mighty Strike, terrifying impact, all of them ended up having different mechanics associated with them. Like Mighty Strike basically can be parried, but it can't actually be countered. Meanwhile, ended up actually even getting into an argument with a guy once who insisted that you can't parry terrifying impact. Which, yeah, you can. This is not what I thought I had on him. Don't I be allowed to? I just have one. This ain't great. This ain't great at all. Okay, just absorb MP on this guy, I guess. But like, Mighty Strike can't be countered, but Terrifying Impact can. Alright, please miss. 130% really ruining the day here. That's a solo run in a nutshell, isn't it? Oh, come on! That's 40 and 45% in a row. It's friggin' 9 parry on this guy. Stop getting crits. Though again, I'm pretty sure crits actually override everything. Except for parries. Like, I think crits override hit chance, but not parries. That might be based off nothing, but as far as I've seen, that seems to be the case. Out of curiosity. See if we do this one, how much evasion that'll give us. Pretty solid. Like, I feel like evasion would do a far better job than a little bit of extra defense threshold we're getting here. And I can't use... Do I not have my Phantom Cloak anymore? Or can I not make it yet? You know, I don't know. And, yeah, Mr. Vale, this is probably going to be the last one for quite a reasonably long time. Since it's probably going to be out of commission for about a month to a month and a half after surgery on Thursday. So we'll see. Def 38, Def 45. It's a minor... It's like... It's 7 less defense, but it's a lot more avoidance. We'll give it a go, because it's a lot less weight as well. Yeah, I was joking earlier that I don't know if you're actually going to be here for this one. And then you were! What's that about? How you feeling today, by the way? How's the eating diamonds going? It's like right here, if I did allow longbows for this run, this probably would be around the point that I would go for like a longbow tank or something. That's part of the reason that I didn't allow them for it. It's like sidearms are fine because they're kind of a short range thing. If we go for longbows, then we just wind up in this weird situation where you just kind of kite everything. Get some sidestep going. Like when the surgery started on Tuesday, feel terrible. A few days to get them to stress down and relax. We've got to get some Legend of Mana going then. Just relax with a cactus. Gotta tell the cactus about your problems. That's how it goes. And they go and write about it, and then you read about it, and then it fixes your day. It's just science. But hey, at least it's progress, you know? It's gonna feel like crap, but it's gonna feel like healthy crap. Which is still a hopefully good thing. So mission run is probably 50 to 65 missions done now. There are a million pirates and dove requests I have no memory of. 65? Wasn't the total like 60? No, the total was like 89 or something, wasn't it? Spectre first name is miserable, but after month 6, life should be significantly easier. Well, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, if you think about it, the universe is probably millions of years old. What, 6 months? That is a terrifyingly long time, man. Yeesh. But, I mean, the improvement will be worth it. one can only assume. Sweet cheapest, these Octopi are strong now. Why did I wait until all the monster units were buffed like crazy? Oh, I never finished that story, by the way. Speaking of the mod and all that. So originally was doing the Knight of Lotus or the second to last boss plus last boss like combined into one team for the Ogre League thing. The main reason that I ended up having to change his team, like originally he was supposed to have 4 Golems in there as his front line, and like it was supposed to be a reference to the second phase of the fight, and then Shahar's in the back with the Letha and Cervantes and all that, and then his whole other team normally. Ended up having originally I was putting Golems on there. Ended up having to change it to the Dragoon and Ninjas, you know, with the alternate color palette and all that kind of thing. Simply because the Golems ended up scaling all the way up to 50, and they were literally unbeatable by anything. Those 4 by themselves could beat 12 of any other team of any other unit. It was kind of ridiculous. That's it. Right now, they basically want infusions and tests to eat up 6 days a week, but by month 6, all see noticeable results seem to be 1 day plus, probably 2, but possibly 1 thanks to reduced testing / fast infusions to my body tolerance. Do they let you do other stuff while you're doing that? Out of curiosity? Like, what I'm picturing is like you're sitting there with a bunch of tubes in your arm, like looking like Bane or something, and just sitting there writing away. Is that a realistic assumption, or? Oh, what you got there? Yeah, you gonna go put together a picture with those? Yeah, that looks like fun. Alright, what do we want to do here? So we can do the nuke. There's a whole lot of not very much progress going on there. Best bet is probably still to circle around trying to rid me of this guy. Actually, no, it's... These what am I saying? These Octopi are so dang oppressive at this point that I'm better off just retreating. By the way, explain this to me. Oh wait, let's see. The analysis is lost time, no writing, no turning pages, nothing, but this is done here at home. We're just full of it right now, and I think once somebody tolerates it a bit better, I can do something other than watch returns of MathNet on YouTube. MathNet? Why does that sound familiar? What is this MathNet technology? It sounds so familiar, but I can't remember what it is. It applies to a lot of things. I think my memory might be garbage. Nice according to my wife, it is. Alright. Come on, parry it. So explain to me how, like, I originally played March of the Black Queen a few years ago. Kept playing all of them for quite a while here. The relatively underused samurai classes and stuff like that were weirdly enough one of my favorite things from that game, just because of the weird gimmicks they had associated with them. Despite all of that, for whatever bizarre reason, I only figured out about 2 days ago that Sonic Blade was a reference to March of the Black Queen, and specifically that class. How did I never piece that together up till now? If I'm not just straight up brain dead. See, MathNet was a kid show on Square One that was like Fragnet from Math Crimes. The numbers are real and the names and faces have been changed to protect the innocent. And James Earl Jones was the chief in later seasons. Weird. You're going to have surgery? To who is that? Oh yeah, having hand surgery next week. Alright, let's see, what do I want to do here? Because the best method seemed to do a pretty okay job. I almost feel like going for the robe is better. It seems like casters are starting to become a problem. Then... what? What the hell? What are you talking about? No! Hand surgery! Like, I have carpal tunnel in my hand. How does that possibly translate to sex change? Gotta turn up your volume, man. Saying that the music was too loud. I already reduced the volume on that. Alright, let's see. We got double the warlocks this time. Even better. Alright, whatever. Let's just see what they spawned in with. Melee, melee, melee. No octopi, so there's a chance. Only 2 casters, so we probably just want to go full dodge here. Just tank the ranged hits. Maybe just fortify. Get some of that scaled down damage. But yeah, no. Basically, what happened with the hand, like 2 months ago now, I just randomly started, going all tingly and/or turning all, like, just weird pains all over the place, like just pain shooting down my arm, down to the elbow, or something like that. For some reason, it makes your armpit hurt randomly. Not sure what that's about. Actually, that particular part has been going on for years now, and I just never thought it was anything. So apparently, that's part of it. But like, it started becoming more and more of a pain to the point that my hands just started feeling like it was on fire. But anywho, yeah, they're just basically chopping my wrist open, opening up some stuff so the nerves stop collapsing in on themselves. Not anything near as intense as what the Surveil's going through over there, but still lengthy recovery time all the same. So I was going to be out of commission for a month or almost, well, a month to month and a half, depending on how recovery wants to go. And I'm pretty sure I got low-key fired from my job for it. They were supposed to be holding it, but I don't think they did. Alright, so there's a risky but potentially winning move here. This one will get us 340. I'll get him out of commission. This would involve getting 3 blocks or parries in the next round. So if we don't get those, then dead. See, down now they're cutting me open, they're just shooting me full of antibodies, might be intense. Well, I don't know, I'm just gonna be one-armed Jones for a while. You can always play using feet. Well, I mean, there's an idea. But no, I mean, more than likely, it's just gonna consist of just spending an entire month and a half focusing on getting as much work done as possible. Oh yeah? I'm literally getting my arm twisted for a cheese stick in one moment. Alrighty, and back to another unfortunate game over. That is a lot of 40% in a row that they rolled, though. See, who was the FF character? The one arm in the sling? Yeah, that was Orin. Dude's pretty awesome. It's basically the alcoholic samurai guy with one arm, who's also dead, and then just ends up becoming even more dead by the end of it. Let's see. Absorb MP's doing a pretty good job. And Sunlight, can we replace that with anything a bit more useful? Maybe Teratology wouldn't hurt here. What kind of draconic stuff we get access to? We get acrobatics, so true strike and dodge. Not terrible. Not terrible. Nothing new draconic-wise I can learn. But yeah, I wouldn't be able to actually get proper access to that for a little bit. Because yeah, it still isn't doing too good of a job here. Clarity might not be a terrible idea. Slow ward wouldn't be a terrible idea. Because that just keeps on happening and being a massive pain in the neck. Hogfire's kind of helping. Don't think there's anything else I really want to change up there. I think that'll do the job just fine. Actually, no, wait, I wanted to go for the vest. 40-46. Yeah, in many ways, it feels like the vest is actually, or the Raider vest is going to be a better thing, because it's giving so much durability, and our evasion's already high enough to the point that we probably don't need more evasion for the moment. Maybe. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But yeah, Orton was a weird one. Like, FF10 in general was just so trippy. That's probably why it was one of my favorite ones. It's like, yeah, the combat mechanics weren't exactly too complex. You know, overall the skill tree was basically just a line. It's still, though, it was so trippy. Not to mention it was one of the first ones I actually played in the series. It's like, I think FF-wise, let's see, that ended up starting off with FF Tactics, so already a weird opinion of it right off the bat. Technically, the first example of FF mechanics were from a parody of Dragon Warrior called Warrior Dragon from back in the day, which was literally just the same game, except you're playing as the dragon going to fight the dude. Actually had really good music too. I need to look that up at some point. Like, it provided the options there sometime down the road. I'd love to at least show off the music of it. I mean, FFT is hard because the series is all downhill from there. Yeah, fair. Fair point. Alright, let's see. Because, like, originally I was looking for a Tactics Ogre on the GBA, but then my brother's like, hey, guess what? You got this copy of FFT, and I can set up PS1 and the TV in the car and just make it run off this AC adapter. So guess what? That's what you're getting. So anyway, that happens, because it was $10 as opposed to like 30 or whatever it was. So anyway, we basically just had a little TV from this garage sale. It was pretty sweet though. I can't complain. That was a pretty awesome road trip. It's one of the few things that's like still somehow untainted from way back in the day. Because like technically this road trip was headed up by the same relative that later stole my identity and everything else, but it was one of the few actually good memories left. Like, oh, he was riding around, seeing the country and whatever else. The one thing that legitimately seems like it didn't have an ulterior motive. But, anywho. So yeah, started off with FFT, ended up actually finding Knight of Lotus upon getting back. Sweet Jesus, RNG, what is wrong with you? Stop putting every 45% in their favor. Thank you. Thank you kindly. But anyways, yeah, got Knight of Lotus. Literally did not go back to FFT for like a decade after that. I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. This is the greatest thing ever. And then just basically did challenge runs of Knight of Lotus until discovering Let Us Cling Together on the PSP. And yeah, then did challenge runs of that for ages until streaming things happened. So got some longevity out of that one. Would say it was a pretty good deal. Also, this is going to be a pretty solid move as long as we don't die. If this next round is survived, then this is already a win. I need those 2 cards, but I can't afford to take them. So yeah, survive 1 round, win the fight. But yeah, it was always like Knight of Lotus and then Armored Core 3 that I was doing challenge runs of for the longest time. And it's just really weird that now pretty much every Knight of Lotus run has been relatively short or slow or whatever else. And, oh, come on now. Come on, Perry! 45% apparently means a quarter of the time. Alright. But anyways, yeah, let's see. FF was... What even was it after that? I think the second one I tried, funnily enough, was... I think it was like FF Adventure or something like that on the original Game Boy. It's like I found it at a pawn shop one day for $1. I mean, it was weird. It was the one where you basically... You're just some spiky-haired dude, and you're walking around, and your first order of business is to get on top of a floating island. And then there's time travel at some point. And then they spelled Guy Bold really weird when the guy ends up getting it as one of his weapons. It was weird and bizarrely punishing, and if you didn't sit there and grind for hours, it just basically bent you over with no actual options. So you had no recovery options whatsoever. You basically just had to immediately break through every dungeon map that you ran into. I can't describe it as pleasant, but it was interesting. The art was pretty alright. Let's see, then after that tried FF7, because my brother went and borrowed it one day and said, wow, this game is crap. Like, we basically got up to around the point where the plant goes boom, and then, yeah, he's not a fan of RPGs. I was like, oh, this looks pretty neat. He's like, no, I can't play this, I'm sorry. So he ended up returning that, ended up getting Metal Gear. So that was pretty awesome. So then we were on a Metal Gear kick for the longest time. Had some Armored Core in there. That's why I lost last time. I didn't have Regenerate. Makes sense, makes sense. It was good times. Yeah, long story short, my brother was basically... well, was more or less my dad. It was the better way to put it. Because he was always getting sent off to other places and was doing other stuff in the background, which I took as abandonment at the time. Knowing everything better now, is like, yeah, no, they legitimately just got sent away to try to get everyone turned away against them. But, point being, that yeah, no, it was pretty cool. Having a brother dad is pretty awesome. He was one tile away from setting up something really awesome there. Dang it. Actually, wait, no, it still works. Actually did set up something really awesome there. Possibly a similar situation to last time. I think I like this best combo. Not even gonna look at the numbers. That right there. The cool thing about finishers is they don't give anyone TP. They're pretty much free damage. Or retribution free damage, I guess. So this should lower it to maybe 2 or so moves. Out of curiosity. Yeah, why aren't all of them coming in with Boulder Toss? This might be a holdover from an older version or something like that, because they've all got this stuff innately, so I'm not sure why they have a Boulder Toss. It's unclear. Because as far as I'm aware, the Boulder Toss shouldn't even exist anymore. Alright, but yeah, FF games. So, let's see, after that tried Crystal Chronicles. That one was a confusing mess. I've heard it was good, but I'll be honest, I had no idea what the hell was going on. What came after that? Oh yeah, then there was FFTA. That one was amazingly awesome. I think I tried FF5 and 4 at some point, but couldn't really tell what was going on, and they were borrowed anyway, so they ended up going back. And then, let's see, ended up actually getting a copy of 7. Tried playing that on the road. Would not recommend that one. For some reason, something about the graphics physically made me sick, so I couldn't actually complete it past the sewer. And then tried 8. Loved 8. Up until the very, very final dungeon of the thing. I don't know. It felt really out of place at the time. What else? Oh yeah, and then 10. The 10 was actually technically before Before 8, what am I talking about? Because I ended up getting copies of 7, 8 entirely on accident. Because I was basically living on a moving truck at the time, and anytime that there's a box that's been sitting unclaimed for like a month, and nobody knows where the hell they go, like they lost a label, or they just got shredded open and nobody knows what to do, they more or less just had a policy of like, screw it, just go nuts. I mean, we've got to go somewhere, and we don't know where. It was like a national company, so they didn't exactly have any means of figuring out where they went. Yeah, I think 10 was my favorite at the time, just because of the trippiness of the setting. Alright, let's see. Secret of Mana was first up Gene, later borrowed Chrono Trigger and FF6, which kind of blew my mind. When PlayStation came out, tried 7 on PC, didn't like it. Fair. Loved Chrono Cross, loved Legend of Mana, then FF and Ogre Battle 64 blew my mind. Yeah, I wish I had OB64 as a kid, man. Like, I guarantee that probably would have been possibly my favorite in the series, like, all things considered here. Oof, that was a lucky 30 or 29%. Really, really lucky. I think counter healing is all we can realistically do here. Let's see, renting Ogre Battle from Blockbuster was number 1. Yeah, I think the one thing I ended up renting the most back in the day was one of the Armored Core titles. It was why can I? Brain is difficult to think of. Brain. Can I get away with using this? Yes. Yes, and it's a good move. Do it. But Another Age. Like all the other ones, I ended up getting a hold of right off the bat if I knew that I could get a hold of them. But Another Age was one of those ones I could never find for sale. I could never find anywhere. I ended up actually getting it. I think Mr. Cow has it now. But yeah, it was one of those ones that I could never quite complete and never really understood at the time. And it was only years later when I actually ended up getting a copy that I realized, like, oh yeah, this is basically like we just had a bunch of ideas that we wanted to put in AC2, but we couldn't because of balance reasons. Who wants a giant game just made of all the challenge maps that we were told to cut? And that's more or less what Another Age was. But yeah, no. If I had an N64, definitely would have played the hell out of OB64. Like to this day, I keep bugging the people of Daedalus. Come on, give me that 11%, please. Ah, jeez. Yeah, if we had survived that round, that would have been a win. It's close, it's doable, you can see the numbers, just gotta RNG it out. Like hell, even March of the Black Queen, if I would have played that as a kid, blown my friggin' mind. I mean, every one of the games in the series, aside from maybe Prince of Zenobia, because it's so weird that I don't know what's going on there, but they've all been amazing. Even when they're jank, they're amazing. Yeah, I think we are gonna have to forego the Raider vest for the Brigandine. Need an elemental vest. But yeah, a 64. Funnily enough, I had a 64 when I was doing the Amazon shop a while ago, but never ended up actually getting one to keep. Hashtag Skulltopus, yes. Skulltopus. Funnily enough, had a SNES, or had a NES rather. I didn't end up ever getting a SNES. I grew up with my brother had a NES, and then he ended up technically gifting it to me after it broke. Then they went and they fixed it as the follow-up holiday gift, if I recall, something like that. So it was like original Zelda, Yukon Trail, and were the first ones I played, and then we got our PS1. And then I remember specifically when he went and saved up his allowance and got the Wu-Tang game, which is basically like Mortal Kombat on the PS1, more or less, with rappers. Oh man, and like basically our mom was, well, at least pretending to be super religious. They got really down his throat about that. Like, oh, all this violence is warping everybody's fragile little mind. You know, meanwhile they're drinking themselves into a coma half the time. So, you know, that was the real danger. But, Man, feel all about the old memories today, apparently. But, anywho, so after all that, let's see, we ended up playing the hell out of the original Twisted Metal back in the day. Ended up renting Armored Core 1 God only knows how many times. Like, Blockbuster was the amazingness back then. Like, I guess to some degree it's a little bit of a shame that that kind of stuff went away. Like, granted, the model couldn't last for any length of time. I mean, you couldn't really bring it back or anything. Probably the closest thing right now would be that Game Pass thing Microsoft is doing. But it's just kind of a shame. It was a really cool little moment in time, you know, where you could just rent stuff. I don't know. It's pretty sweet. Alright, while this turn's going by, let me go do the rounds real quick. I think Little Man's still asleep there. Just want to double check. See if we have to end it or if we can keep going for a little longer. One moment. Okie dokie. And back. Alright, seems like we still got a minute. Thought he was up over there. It turns out that is a completely different noise. Alright. Got a Hierophant, good. It's a nice little mind bonus. Mind. It's so funny, lately I've been seeing a whole lot more attention for like this game in particular, but for the Ogre Battle series. It's a little odd. I'll be honest, I don't know where it's all coming from. Like, I don't know if something or other got mentioned, but as far as I can tell, there's no other news. It's just been all over the place lately. I've seen like 3 or 4 podcasts come out about it. I've seen like 7 or 8 articles in the last few weeks for some reason. Like, I'm not complaining. It's interesting to see all this stuff coming out. Oh, by the way, actually, One Vision ended up getting a Chinese audience, so that's pretty sweet. So there's a bunch of folks from over there. But yeah, actually, one of those articles was from the Chinese audience. It's like, yeah, I played the original. The balance was a complete and utter mess. Like, yeah, that's not wrong. I mean, the interesting part is that, yeah, you could still make it into a fun challenge if you gave it a minute, but it definitely was a mess. Been trying to refine the recruit only challenge lately. I think I'll probably put a video about that later. Honestly, I wasn't expecting to have any time today, but figured whatever, we'll try to do one last stream before going all kaput for a while, because I'm expecting to be pretty much constantly busy next week. We shall see. I mean, there might be a moment, maybe we'll do some FTL or something, but realistically, yeah, it's gonna be one of those weeks where it's like, yeah, I gotta get something going. Like, as soon as there's time available, gotta get something going on. Like, courtesy of pandemic and whatever else, income got a little tad overshafted. Then technicalities came up, which then further shafted the already shafted situation. So that's always fun. Right. I think what we're gonna do, now we're just gonna get in close. Gonna try to take out their healer. Look at these numbers real quick. Because Arrhythmia... Oh, that is a very close call. If this rolls low, it'll be a waste. Basically, just gotta get close, try to take them out. Archer's not doing too much. Like, Arrhythmia seems like an almost completely reliable insta-kill move right now. Which is kind of an interesting thing. And again, this isn't even augmented. Like, what kind of aug does it take? Wind? Most of the double hits are wind? Yeah. We've actually got a pretty solid wind aug. Then we'd basically have to stack 3 augs onto this. And I'll just get like a wind staff or something. Meter shutdown, that's no good. Well, crap. What happened there? Hard drive failure? If he doesn't block anything, we can take the middle island. And if we can take the middle island, we should be solid here. In fact, no, I'd be better off not moving at all. Let's see, no, used canned air to get rid of any dust, coughing, going man if only I had a mask. Oh, my kaiju face mask was on my desk next to me. By the way, speaking of masks, you know what? I'm amazed that it's taking people so dang long to ship them out. Like, I kid you not, our Etsy store has been doing surprisingly well only because of the fact that we actually bothered to send them out, like, within 2 weeks. I mean, most of the time the order comes in, I just go slap them in an envelope and put them outside, and that's it. I ended up ordering one for my wife there, because she loves the Grinch. That's just basically the Grinch with a bunch of Corona stuff on there, and it says, "Ew, people." The Grinch in a mask. But any dang ways, yeah, for whatever reason, that crap took like a month and a half to arrive. That's no excuse, it's 1 state away. Oh yeah, we're dead. We're very dead. Leadened and double finishered. Rip Mr. Staffman. Use the staff, man. Parry? Ah, parry, why? You had one job, parry. For curiosity, though, if we were to do something along the lines of, oh, I don't know, turning back to Cleric. First off, do we have more class marks for this? Yes, we do have some. Cleric is at about the same level. How do our stats go? They're actually stronger, they've got more defense, they've got better agility, they've got worse evasion, they've got better resistances. Wow, by a pretty decent margin, actually. Although, it's one little difference. Honestly, it's not too much of a difference. Their stats are close enough to call them equal. But then... yeah, he can literally use all the same stuff. Except for the attack spells, which I wasn't using anyway. Then we just replace... no, Slow Ward is good. We need that. Aug Fires... and replace that with Aug Air. Probably get some decent punch out of Arrhythmia. And then, yeah, replace Field Elf with Tabula Rasa. Sway Javis, it's good. And then, probably absorb MP. All well and good there. However, if we replace that with Blessing, then, yeah, you've got an even better option. Like, basically, comparatively, what this changes, like, the reason you use Field Out is because you're silenced, which still caps out how much healing you can do. Tabula Rasa just basically says, screw that, I'm a heal anyway. Mother's Blessing doubles that if needed. I mean, you can't use them both at the same time, but still. Usually if you're Rasa-ing, you've probably got enough points from previous turns to not really need to use Blessing to make up for missing MP. Having Absorb on this would be nice, but also, who cares? Yeah, once we get Cleric Pants, then we can probably replace Slow Ward. But I'm going to go ahead and say this is probably pretty alrightish. If we go for this, it lowers attack somewhat. That luck, though. Like, it lowers overall attack potential, but luck is just so dang strong. Okay, we can go back if needed, but I think this will do it. But anyway, as far as Kaiju goes, which one? Got like a Mothra mask or something? Looking like a Rodan over there. Just watch, somebody gets confused, they get a Kanji mask instead of a Kaiju mask. What's it say? Now it says cake in Japanese, I think. Generic Toho, don't sue me, but clearly Godzilla. Fair. Side note, you ever played the Game Boy Color game? It's actually pretty alright. I mean, near impossible near the end, but still pretty alright. I don't know who decided to make a side-scrolling beat-em-up where you basically take up 90% of the screen. But hey, if it works, I guess. We're gonna set up a Blessing here. Sadly, this only works with heal, it does not work with regeneration. That'd be fantastic if it did, but no. No, no, no. I've asked Breaks if you can somehow attach the two. He said no. Unfortunately. Side note, by the way, in terms of interesting places where this game's budget went, would anybody have cared if you couldn't slightly see the tentacles underneath the octopus in the water? No. Who knows how many thousands of dollars went to making that happen? See, Godzilla 2 War of the Monsters. Godzilla Tax is the only Godzilla game I remember liking enough to replay. Fair enough, it is pretty neat. It's basically Advance Wars, but not very advanced, and more... I mean, less war and more, oh god, it's Godzilla. But hey. Details. Right, how much stronger did that make Arrhythmia? Pretty okay. That'll do almost 400. Let's do the math here. That'll do like 174. Not so worth it right now. Yeah, this makes a basic heal go all the frickin' way up to 156. So heal 3, I can do 700. I think something might be wrong with Mother's Blessing right now. Because that seems like way too much. We can just basic heal for full health bar, why not? It's basically like conserve RT and conserve MP in a single move. That's what's fantastic about it. Dink. Dink. Well. Nothing happened there, I suppose. I mean, all things considered, there have to be some games that I'm sure you must have gone through in terms of, like, you play them just because, honestly, you kind of hate them. Like, I don't know how many times I've replayed through Civ Revolutions 2 out of spite at this point. I don't like anything about the game, but, you know, I've still played through it several times just because it's a Civ game. It's terrible, it's not even remotely balanced. I'm not even sure anyone even slightly gave a crap about it, but, you know, it exists. I can say that much about it, it definitely exists. How is this kind of run possible? Looks like you have 0 chance. Right now it's because we're doing Farampa. And that's why it's called the Impossible Run. But so far it has been very possible. We've already beaten Branton. We've already beaten everything up to that point. Basically, right now, it all comes down to creating a situation where in one turn it goes from impossible to very winnable. And part of it just revolves around cheesing a lot of the game's mechanics. Like right here, I'm cheesing the fact that melee stuff technically has 2 chances at about 40% to even hit. This can be lowered even further. I need to get another battle staff at some point, but right now we're just using an elemental one, so we lost 5% of that parry. Either way, so we basically have a class now that can get rid of any debuffs, can basically heal itself for full at any given point, due to the way that scaling is now changed. So for example, a heal 2 will be enough to heal us all the way to full here, or at least very close to it. So we're just going to go do that, and basically what we're trying to do is set up a situation where we have a turn where we can use Arrhythmia to finish off one of the warlocks. The Octopi are eventually going to wear themselves down. The melee characters are going to wear themselves down trying to bounce off this dude's incredibly chiseled chest at this point. This turn will probably be a wash, because I should have gone back instead of going to the side here. Alright, let's see. My brother Hate played Jurassic Park on the SNES. Did he beat it? That one looked pretty neat. Like, are we talking about the one where you're going around and it's like this whole top-down shooter thing? Come on, parry. Good, good. Probably getting finished off by her, unless she goes for Purify. Wait, are we actually going to get a turn here? There's a chance. Now we just have to dodge a short bow. See how that goes. Okay, died to a short bow. That's fine. But yeah, no, we've already almost won this several times. Let's see, had a million places in a glitch out or instant give you due to bugs or traps in the Raptor dimension. Oh yeah, the whole first person thing was pretty sweet. Like, if nothing else, it looked really cool. Like, especially for the time, it looked really sweet. Like 14 hours, keeping it alive by not shutting it off until one day didn't glitch out. Well, that's depressing. Alright, so... Actually, no, this is a battle stat variant. Well, I guess that I don't have that excuse anymore now, do I? But yeah, that's fine. This is very doable. Just gotta do it right. Like, the other map is technically doable too, but we don't have much of a reason to. Part of it is that it keeps spawning octopi, which are definitely the bane of this map. It's like, the biggest threat are octopi, the second biggest threat are going to be all the warlocks, and then everything else is just kind of deal with it. Because our vitality is high enough at this point, the arrows will mostly just, like I said, bounce off his pecs. It's like, no, I'm sorry, I worked out too hard. It's like casually toothpicks out a friggin' arrow. Though, bit of a side note. There was so occasionally we have this thing at home where like my wife will fall asleep watching one show and then wake up watching something completely different. And yeah, usually it's just like one thing ends, who knows what episode it was on, and suddenly I'm like, oh yeah. And I go over to the room there, like, oh, what are we watching? He's like, wakes up, like, oh, I guess we're watching this now. But anyway, so the other day, this show called Warrior Nun was there. I'm like, okay, that sounds interesting. I'm imagining some like Xena type situation, which, funnily enough, it kind of was for a bit. I saw 10 episodes of it so far, and I have to say, 1 through 7 were awesome. Second half of 7 through 10 were when I walked out of the room. Like, it was basically the typical, schlocky, semi-sci-fi, fantasy kind of situation where they're like, oh, it's your standard secret society plot kind of thing. Like, oh, the church is secretly manipulating everybody, and they got all this demonic stuff coming into the world because they stuck some thing under the Vatican or whatever. It's like, okay, this is a pretty cool thing, and then they get to the bit where, in one episode, they turn it around from, like, sci-fi romp kind of situation to, like, oh yeah, we're just going full-blown feminist mode now. And, okay, it is that thing of, like, I get it, it's at its original version, alright thing. But then when it just becomes like literally every guy character in the show becomes brain dead and or a traitor and or a liar in one fell swoop, and then like all the female characters know every one of them is lying just on sight, it's like, why did they all become incompetent all of a sudden? Or, they all become incompetent or terrible at one time. Like, I kid you not, at one point, they have every male character in a scene turn around to go follow a bad guy, just assuming he's divine in origin for basically no reason. He just sort of shows up and they're like, he looks vaguely like Jesus. We're gonna abandon our leader and go follow him now. Like, what? Why? Anyway, it was kind of a shame. I was liking that show up to that point, and it just like played all of its cards in one swoop there. I was like, oh, it's one of those, huh? It was a shame. But oh well. Oh well, maybe it'll redeem itself later. It's such a weird topic, though. Because, like, the immediate thought is like, oh, are you discriminatory or something along those lines. Like, it's not a discrimination thing, it's a, like, you basically are calling me retarded kind of thing. Oh well. Oh well. And there we go. I mean, hell, maybe that proves it right there. Just failed on the same basic map that people literally grind for XP over and over. Maybe I am just brain dead. Alright. Let's try this again. And yeah, Shen, if you're still here, we've definitely done way more impossible stuff over this run. This is one of the little gatekeeper fights, and then we're gonna have another one later, but it's like, specifically Octopi and Golems are some of the stuff that's gonna cause a lot of problems. They make the big hurts happen. You definitely don't want to go for that one. It's like, it's a slight boost in health and everything, but the luck is really good. If we go for a Vit and just double stack on defense here, maybe? Just go for this, go for avoidance. That's a lot of extra health, though. We'll get all the way up to 503. Alright, whatever. We'll give it a shot. Give it the old college try. Oh, by the way, Mr. Vale, quick question. Have you ever played Subterranea? Speaking of playing stuff for 14 hours and hoping it doesn't break. Have you ever heard of Subterranea? No, not Subterranean, Subterranea. Have not heard of it either? Okay. So, weirdly enough, Sega dumped a whole bunch of money into it. Like, way back in the day, they were hoping for it to be this kind of like flagship kind of thing. Where, like, they gave it all these fancy graphics and good music and everything, and actually gave it some pretty decent art, aside from the intro, where for some reason your main character looks like a really, like, kind of like, I guess, chubby redneck version of Anakin Skywalker. Like, it's hard to describe. Just look up Subterranea intro to see what I mean. He's got like this weird rat tail situation going on. But anyway, it's supposed to be this kind of gravity puzzle game. Like, they went through all this effort to give it realistic gravity and everything on the Genesis of all things. Like, they got physicists involved and everything else. And it was just this punishingly difficult puzzle game that hated you every step of the way. Which is a shame, because it had some legitimately cool mechanics. Like, you technically could keep shooting almost forever, except, you know, you ended up only getting your burst fire. Like, the longer you waited before you fired, the better your shots actually became. You got upgrades as stuff went along, but you basically lost all of them as soon as you died, so considering you only had 3 lives to beat the entire thing, and basically everything could just crush and kill you instantly, it was pretty punishing, especially in some cases where you basically could just lock yourself out of actually completing it by, say, dropping an item that you weren't supposed to. Like, there's lots of cases where you're basically hovering around with your little, not quite a helicopter, little submersible thing. And, like, for example, you have to hold this moving platform up in the air to go deflect a laser to go blow up a piece of this, you know, hidden wall kind of situation. And when it's those kinds of moments, it's really cool, because then it's like, oh, you bounce this thing midair and blows up this other thing, and it feels super satisfying. Minus the fact that you can't actually beat the game anymore because you picked up the wrong deflector and it deflected it into the wrong thing. And it just blew up as soon as it touched the ground, so... well, sucks to be you then. Hope you weren't expecting to beat this anytime soon. But yeah, no, you're expected to just beat it all in one go for some reason. I think there's some codes that you can get, but, you know, there's no save system or anything. It's just this game that absolutely hates you. And there was, like, there's speedrunners that end up losing it constantly. Like, it's to the point where everything is completely understood about the game and people still can't beat it. But yeah, somebody did that at Games Done Quick a while ago. It's pretty fun to watch. But would only recommend watching it. Playing it is... we're just gonna call it an experience. Oh hey look, Perry remembered it existed. Oh, it's amazing! It actually does stuff, who'd have thought? I think we're gonna have to get something to sort out this MP situation. I think I might end up having to give up a slow word here. Just use Tabula whenever it comes up. This is very expensive to maintain. Like, we're more or less setting up a situation where we block everything for most of the round, have enough health and regeneration left over to be able to survive a second one, finish a unit off, move on, do it again, etc., etc. We realistically probably want to set up evasion high enough to the point that a weighted shot ends up missing repeatedly. Oh, actually, speaking of, on that note, recently had gone and watched through all of The Witcher, and I have to say, in terms of how I would expect if anybody ever made a movie or show out of Ogre Battle for whatever reason, the final episode of that is exactly how I would imagine it. Like, technically, not too many units to the point that it's... well, hell, there just weren't many units flying around, to be honest. It probably was a budgetary thing. But, sweet goodness, it was really cool looking. But specifically, there were several things that literally could have come straight out of this game. It's like to the point of like people shooting arrows out of portals and like throwing around friggin' magical cluster bombs and crap. It was pretty awesome. Granted, thinking back on it, yeah, it's one of those ones where it's like every one of those things they could have potentially used at a different point to much greater effect, but, you know, show's gotta show, I guess. Like, at one point somebody just drops a thing that mind controls a bunch of people, which is awesome, and then you think about, like, why didn't they just use that earlier? Why would they wait until they were halfway through the fight? and then wait even a little bit longer, and then finally use the thing when they could have just chucked it in with their first wave stuff. But, oh well. Details, details. Alright, can we survive this round? Alright, 51 evasion, that's not terrible. We might not have to get rid of the vest. Or the armored vest. Like, whether or not we survive this round basically will determine that. Because we've got enough punch. Oh, come on, evade! I wish. Yeah, maybe we will have to go for a vest. And then sadness happened. Oh, and also, there's I forget if I mentioned this because it's been weeks, but if anyone didn't know, there's actually another mod for Lucht that ended up coming out. That's actually for the SNES version, called Don't Stop Me Now. It's pretty neat. Definitely recommend giving it a go. Does a few things differently, which are pretty cool. Alright, let's see. Let's just go full evasion side here. See how this plays out. We do evasion ring. There's a lot of stats dropping. Alright, get rid of this. Consecrate we don't need here. Need absorb MP. It's fine. Reflect damage. Yeah, that could work really well with this actually. I'm surprised I haven't tried that yet. Maybe we're getting an elemental fist or something like that. And eventually set up a build that's like claw spike shield, something like that. Don't have any dodge, right? No, but I do have some fortify. Let's do the fortify. See if anything good can happen out of that. See if it's at all possible that with the evasion set we can maybe go take down those Octopi before anything gets too serious. Not looking like it. Probably should have put on that sidestep actually. Yeah, it's looking a bit more reliable. Why is that one way more accurate? Get a ring or something? Ring of Vigor. Okay, one quick sec. Okie dokie, I'm back. Let's see what my son was up to. The answer is still sleeping. Apparently he realized it's a Saturday. He's just sleeping in over there. Alright, see if we can manipulate the AI a little bit here. Put them right next to him so that they try to take a swing. Yeah, cool thing you can do with the AI. If you park yourself right next to him, a lot of the time they will they'll just try to take the swing because it's going to be the fastest move they can make. I really hope that someday all of the AI stuff gets dug up. Alright, enjoy walking your cat. Have fun scaring people with your, what I know is secretly a tiger, / were-tiger. Come on to you. So we can do laser beams. No, we don't do laser beams. As much as I want to do something like that, do your shackle maybe. Yeah, shackle wouldn't be a terrible idea. Get him out of the fight for now. Just something for them to deal with. And yeah, I think going forward, you know, even after recovery and everything else, I think I'm probably gonna still stick to just playing off the beta here. It just feels more genuine, I think, even if it is slightly slower. What do you guys think? I'm assuming most of the folks that were actually responding have gone about their day by now. We shall see. You know, looking at it, I see some potential for some pretty useful stuff later. Like, I'm thinking if we end up going like a Lord Cleric build kind of thing down the road, less stats overall, but combining it with a Berserk or something might be really, really strong. Potential ideas. We'll see when we get there. Either way, need to start moving in this direction. Just gotta stay out of range of the archers for now. The evasion set's making turns come up pretty fast. Seems like most little stuff's getting healed off by regenerate. Reflect? I can't really say Reflect is doing anything that's mind-blowing right now. Like, the main thing for Reflect is if somebody does manage to land one of their big hits, you can maybe have a better chance of finishing them off. Kind of its main utility. Hi there, Mr. Cow. Like that 25%. I mean, it only did 36 back to him. It's kind of meh. We can do a big chunk of damage, or we can just heal. Which is gonna be the better move, quite frankly. Oh, it's Healcraft. That's why it's... okay, that's why it's doing so much. Makes sense why it's going into the friggin' 700s for healing. Because it's one of the few cases where that little Healcraft is gonna matter. So more or less surrounded at this point. Definitely what we'd call target-rich environments. Probably just stay where we are, actually. Hopefully get a little bit surrounded, start making those heal nukes happen. We shall see. Yeah, that's up to be regenerated out of. Harry? Good. Okay, there's a chance for a nuke now. As long as we get those guys stuck in close range, we're good. Because now what this opens up for is a... no. If this hits, then we've got a problem. Okay, good. Actually, this guy just blocked what I was planning to do. So what I was thinking is that I would be able to go down over here, basically drop a nuke on these guys and run. I mean, we can do a pretty healthy chunk here. Get a good number of them, maybe go in the corner, hide, and hope to survive a turn. Depends on if these guys have finishers built up. They've got... this guy's probably going to have a finisher, so that's going to put us in the letter. Which means we won't have... well, we're going to have access to heal 3 if we do it this way. Alright, what bow are you running? Let's get a 6 and 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Yeah, there's no way we're getting out of range of his regular shot, but his finisher's got what on it? 37. 6. So we're actually out of his finisher range. He has to either run up and use it, which will leave him stuck for a little while, or he'll have to use it and run away. Or just take a regular shot. I don't think there's anywhere we can really go that'll be completely out of his finisher range. But, there's a chance that he'll just decide to use the regular shot if we go from here. Which isn't ideal, but it'll set up some stuff here. Because we're still going to recover about 40 before all that happens. Because basically what this sets up is whenever we get our next finisher, then we can finish off 2 units at once. That ain't great. Crits are very unwelcome. Or hell, we might not even need that second finisher, actually. What you doing? No, that's brothers. Excuse me? Welcome back. Give us another go with this setup. Like, I think our best option, now that I think about it, I should be doing is checking my inventory, seeing if I have... I want to see what's in here. I think I'm allowed to craft the Phantom Cloak, because I want to say I've had that before. Not sure. But now we're gonna give this one more run. I'm assuming my son's gonna be up any minute now, which point we're just gonna start the day as normal. But as soon as that happens, we're calling it for the day. But yeah, just wanted to show off some of the multiplayer teams that have come up for that Ogre League thing. And Mr. Cowman is being all mysterious with his emotes over there. That's what's going on. Also, his phone doesn't work. I think that's PS4 stuff. What's wrong, Mr. Man? Why is Sad Cow? How now, Sad Cow? I mean, there have to have been at least some improvements. Also, by the way, I'm not sure how possible it is to reach people in the post office, because I tried calling them several times as far as that thing that went missing, and as of so far, nobody's even tried to call me back. So... guess I'm making a third one at some point, because it's never got back here, and it apparently didn't get there, so that's fun. Okay. Bonk. Like, it still hasn't gotten there, right? Or did it get there and I'm just calling them about nothing? Jeez. 40% Y. Sorry, Filkers. Well, I mean, I don't know why you're living in Area 51. Oh wow, 40% decided to happen. It's a miracle. Nothing. I'm sure it'll come up eventually. I just feel like at this point I have to stick this one out to get this one done, just to show shit it can be done. Because dang it, we've done it before. I mean, that was definitely not the way to do it. But no, what I was specifically thinking was going for one of these ones, but apparently I don't have the right helmet type. It's like this one right here boosts agility, this one does not. Still at it? Yeah, for the moment. This is gonna be one of the last ones. But, yeah, still doing the whole attempting to do the thing with the stuff. And let's go wingy boots, maybe. Maybe those. I don't know, do one of the things with this stuff. Let's go with vest and luck guards, why not? How's stuff been for you, Mr. Evan? You back at it again? Are you traveling again? Back in other countries that we're not banned from? Actually, wait, we're banned from basically everywhere. That is to say, other countries... Wait. In other countries that are not currently banned by other majorities of countries. There we go. Without delving too much into politics, there's kind of a collective, nationwide I told you so going on. No travel, no money for travel. Well, that sucks. It's travel virtually. It's actually what the new job is. It's basically virtually meeting with people to basically meeting with people and using satellites and stuff like that to more or less virtually measure and sell windows and roofs and things. It's pretty sweet. Actually, I had no idea about some of these things, but apparently Google Earth actually has a mode on there that lets you accurately measure a roof or brick in space, and apparently is accurate to the inch. It's kind of nuts. I can go to Thailand, India, and Turkey pretty soon. It's basically the good food gauntlet, apparently. Alright, I don't know how we're gonna make this fly with 2 octopi. Unintentional rhyme, but we'll pretend it's intentional. Possibly Germany. Yeah, currently everything's still on lockdown over here. Or at least attempting lockdowns. Like, it's just a never-ending back and forth of stuff going wrong, numbers going up. Also, please, 25%, would you remember that you're a low percentage number? But yeah. The stuff going wrong left and right, people trying to deny it, all the usual fun stuff that you've come to expect from us in 2020. So, yeah. Fun times. 200, that'll leave 199. Yeah, I think what we're gonna do, we're gonna throw this out. I'm gonna go for a regeneration next round. This turn, just basically run away. So we want to get back here to avoid all their water moves. The problem last time was that I kept trying to push up. The way that the strategy should go is go forward, or rather go up, evade all their water stuff, deal with the octopi, then deal with the melee stuff, then deal with everything else later. basically tabula out of the finishers from the bow users, which unfortunately keep piling up at the same time. Like, weighted shot is mostly the thing that keeps getting me every time. But yeah, it's like I was saying earlier, many of the teams for Ogre League are already set up. So that might be one of the first things that happens upon recovery being done. Wait, did I just say most? Many. Definitely not most. Very not most. Yeah, that gear's gonna work, because otherwise we're gonna get peppered with endless moves from far away. So we just want to get them all stuck in melee. And yeah, no matter how many ways I tested it, without severely gimping them, there was no way I could have golems in any of those teams. Like, I went and, like, I would basically have to take Tactician off all of them, would have to take Power Core off all of them, would basically have to remove a bunch of their skills in order to make it fair, which just seemed like it, well, wouldn't be fair. Oh wait, that was weird. You ever have a thing where you basically laugh and hiccup and then also kind of yawn at the same time? That just happened. Sorry, that probably sounded really weird. Basically, the everything broke at once. Give it a couple more rounds of melee as every 50% in the world hits. Do the blessing, do the full heal. Okay, come on now. Every 40%? Dang it, that was getting set up so good too. Alright, one more go. Dang it, we're doing this. It was gonna get done. Like, Evasion Set does seem to do a pretty solid job. Maybe Brigandine and Gloves instead. And maybe, just maybe, what am I not using? Blessing I'm using, Slow Ward, like, I guess we could tabula out of slow, so do Reflect there. Could do Field Alec, but I don't think I have the items to use Field Alec. Still, I could use Wade. Wade does something else now. No, it doesn't, actually. Teratology, maybe. 40% plus crits, yeah. It's RNG being RNG sometimes. Though, I think the gloves might be part of it. I've mentioned this before, but luck is a little bit bizarre, where after you raise it past a certain point, it basically turns into the Jinxed ability from Fallout, where just stuff happens. You can't really, exactly pinpoint why. It just sort of occurs, and then, well, it's hard to say exactly what's going on. But yeah, it eventually gets to the point where nothing's hitting but crits, but then suddenly your luck goes backwards, and you end up getting hit for low percentage odds all the time, but then your low percentages are hitting all the time. It's weird. Stuff just goes haywire. Thank you for that 50% crit. Greatly appreciate it, Mr. Octopus. Greatly appreciate it. Though, thankfully, Teratology did remove that damage a little bit. So if we get all close-like, he should go for the slaps, and that should be dandy. Getting slapped by an octopus. Sure, it's somebody's fetish. Side note, by the way, I don't know how many of y'all play Catan, but there is certainly something to be said for the kind of ridiculous potential goodness of setting up a build that basically makes use of both port and development cards exclusively. And I was playing around with that yesterday. Kind of potentially got a little busted. Yes, I got reminded by that because of an octopus. Don't judge me. But yeah, no, like, if for those that never played Catan, there's basically 5 resources. There's tiles all over the board. If you put your stuff on one tile, you basically get a chance to, like, if anybody rolls that number, you get that thing, and then you use your cards to build up new stuff, and that's more or less how you play the game. You don't necessarily fight each other. Like, there's technically technically the rules say, hey, you gotta rob each other every time somebody rolls a 7, but that makes everybody hate each other the entire game, so they play with this house rule where you're allowed to plunder empty tiles until you're forced to rob each other, which definitely feels like it has a better flow to it. Any dang ways, though. So what ended up happening is yeah, you basically need 3 of them to get what are known as dev cards. They're basically just cards they're like chance cards in Monopoly, except you gotta buy them. And most of the time, they basically just say, like, oh yeah, you get 1 resource, you suck, way to completely waste your resources on this completely worthless thing. However, you can set yourself up in such a way where you basically have all your stuff built for only those 3 resources. So you just keep drawing cards until you get, like, free points towards winning the game, or free roads all over the place, or everyone has to give you one of a particular resource. They just have to give you all of it. Like, yesterday I was playing around with that, and I think I bought like 20 of them suckers. And let's see, how did it go? It's like you basically need 10 points to win, so I got 2 of them from largest army, which you only need 3. I think I had like 12. But then, yeah, the rest of them are like free points, free roads, and everything else. It's good. It's pretty interesting. Like, it's kind of an odd thing to do the math on, because technically speaking, most of the time you're basically giving away 3 resources to get 1 back. But then you have a chance to get 2 back, or you have a chance to get a ton of one of them, or a point, which is kind of hard to get a hold of in a lot of cases. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Point being, you can potentially do some pretty cheesy stuff in that game. It's pretty fun. Kind of wonder if there's a PC version. Maybe show off some of that. I'm sure there has to be a PC version. Like, I'm sure Tabletop Simulator has it. Actually, I know it has it because I've played it before. Fun game, though. Though, I don't know if it would allow that house rule. Because truth be told, the whole you have to rob everybody from the very beginning thing is pretty dumb. Also, looks like Strengthen isn't exactly worth it anymore, because all I'm getting is 10 extra damage. So there's a PC version on the tabletop? Gotcha. Yeah, I wonder if that house rule exists, because I've seen other people playing that way as well. Not to mention, it's actually really fun to play it with all the numbers turned down. It's like, whenever you're actually putting down all your buildings and roads and everything else, you don't actually know what resources anyone's getting until you flip them all over. So you basically discover the map as you go along. Tabletop would allow for house rules if it's basic. Seems so. Because it's literally just how you use the robber. Which is funny, because we actually one of our relatives actually has the original version, which they had to change the robber to a gray figurine because somebody decided originally that the robber was, a little black figure, and somehow didn't see how that could potentially cause problems for them down the road. I assume there was either backlash or they got sued or something. But it seems to come up every time we're teaching the game to somebody. They're like, oh yeah, I looked it up and it looks like they originally had to change this piece. Yeah. It's a little awkward. But yeah. But yeah, if anyone wants to play some Catan in like a month or so, let me know. Maybe we can get that all set up. It's like I literally only ever play one strategy on that game and it wins enough that I keep doing it. Even if I get made fun of literally every single time. Alright. We're gonna do a little bit of setup here. Gonna set up a blessing. Gonna do the nuke and run away. Not even looking at the numbers, we're just dropping that sucker. Actually, wait, we do want to look at the numbers. That's pretty okay. Yeah, we'll do this one. That's not nearly as good as I thought. Oh, well. Sorry, we should have a pretty good heal next round. Only one octopus who doesn't seem to be doing very much. So hopefully we'll be alright. Yeah, there's just something about maces in this game. And I don't know, I think part of the reason that I loved them so much in vanilla is because they had that goofy, like, doo-doo sound. Like, here's this mace, this weapon of absolute war and armor crushing or whatever else, it sounds like a bubble. Man, why is everyone so sleepy today? One of the kiddos woke up, fell right back asleep over there. Another one was just tossing and turning but didn't feel like getting up. Alright, is it our round yet? Yeah, I'm thinking by the end of this we're pretty much going to need the Fire Crest. Yeah, we'll take the heal 3. And then just need to get out of octopus range, and then we should be pretty well set up here. I should be getting everyone out of heal range. A parry would be nice, but, you know, would say can't have everything. Can't have much of anything this attempt, it would seem. Don't know. Either way, out of archer range, that's fine. He's not building up meter. Those guys are still getting whacked. I don't see a healer going on in their team, actually. Nice. Probably just imagine some Ninja Turtles crap going on with this situation. Sitting there blocking everything with their staff. But of course, it's blunt. Nobody ever dies to blunt things. That's just science. Therefore, it's PG-13. Though it is kind of funny, if you think about it, there's a weird common thread between over-censorship of cartoons and, well, it's not really over-censorship, I guess, but, like, cartoon censorship and the Mongols. Like, both of them technically have the same rule, where they can't ever show blood, but it oftentimes leads to even more brutal stuff. Like, pretty much everybody falling down into infinite chasms and stuff like that. For anyone unaware, the Mongols basically had a rule where, technically speaking, I think, like, it was exactly worded, they can't draw the blood of nobles or something like that, which basically instead translated to like, oh yeah, that basically means they get boiled. It was pretty brutal. Okay, we're gonna save around here. Yeah, we're gonna do Tabula, do a heal. With any luck, they will surround, at which point that'll be a 4-unit KO. Unfortunately, we're probably taking a leaden pretty soon here. Hopefully the archer is just at range and doesn't decide to do it. Because if they take a normal shot and run, then we're very well set up, and I don't know why I keep hoping low % odds will listen. Of course it won't listen. Alright, good parry. Good. Worst case scenario, we have backup. Crap. There goes that meter. Tyrant's Fist is pretty brutal. Short bow just doesn't understand how missing works. And oh, for crap's sake, 40%! Come on now. Again, that's 40% plus 45%. Mongols made all warfare and other warlike activities more fun. Dude, it's insane the kind of stuff they got up to. And, like, it's... trying to look at the logic behind it is just fascinating. Because, like, on the one hand, they're like, yeah, we're just basically doing war counts for fun. On the other hand, their more or less stated goal was to avoid doing similar stuff in the future. Though, holy crap, they went above and beyond for just completely crushing stuff they didn't like. Good lord. I mean, obviously the most famous one was where somebody tried to insult them and they're like, yeah, we're just gonna race you off the face of the earth, and they did. Like, literally, I don't think there was any of their cities left, or anyone of their population. Like, it was, yeah. It basically just went like that. It was either everything went great and you joined them, or you didn't, and bye-bye completely. Like, there was one of the cities that ended up fighting them off for, like, 6 weeks, I think it was. Like, one of these random city-states or some such, and, yeah, they got so pissed off at the delay that they literally just, like, reduced the place to dust. It was nuts. But they more or less realized, like, oh yeah, we already said no. I mean, it's basically too late at this point. We might as well just do a last stand. It was nuts. Hi there, Mr. Cerebo. How's it going? We're talking about war crimes. So yeah. To be fair, I blame AoE 2 for that. They did Month of the Mongols, which just led to a whole bunch of Mongol stuff showing up all of a sudden, which, then again, I guess you could also blame Sony for the whole Ghost of Tsushima thing. I'm like, oh, go fight some Mongols. Okay. Alright, what are we doing here? If I go forward, we just get smacked with water, douchiness. If we go back here, maybe some good stuff happens. Let's see, spell strike, breached. Gain as much breach. True fly won't help. Sure strike wouldn't be a terrible idea, I guess. Gonna levitate. Wouldn't do anything, but it would look cool. Alright, what do they spawn in with this time? Those, got a heavy guy, shooty guy, shooty guy. Many shooty guys. Alright, so we definitely never want to let go of sidestep. I'm just gonna sit in place. Like that emote. It's a pretty snazzy emote. Definitely can't say no to that. Alright, might be able to double finisher that guy, maybe. He's just stuck in place. If we do Redmia, he's gone. Goodbye. There's one of their heavies. It's got a good card I need. I will never be able to get that card. Those are almost certainly getting pushed back before we can do anything with it. That'd be a Hobble and a Leaden. Okay, Hobble failed. Leaden didn't. Need Tabula out of that. Gonna need to do a whole lot of healing. Because yeah, basically the Leaden is completely overriding the sidestep in this case. We're just going to get hit by every arrow in the universe. Thanks, 37%. I appreciate how you're a crit 100% of the time. That's cool. As Parry refuses to roll. Alright. Well, yeah. That went great. Again. Hang on one quick sec here. Yeah, I'm here too. Yep, that he is. But yeah, so I think we're gonna give this one more go. Actually, my kiddo just woke up, so he's just having his Cheetos here. But yeah, I need to do the proper breakfast thing in a moment. So we'll give this one more try, and then show off the teams I was talking about there, see if anyone's getting any feedback, and then we'll call it for the day. How's that sound? Now we're just gonna go all aggressive on this one, I think. Those guys. Those guys right there. Snuck in because he wasn't paying attention. Sneaky Evan. Somehow all that stuff missed. Perfect. Got a potentially perfect setup here. Go for this. Hopefully everything else goes for melee. So basically, if parry rolls, we're good. Yeah, the staying back approach is definitely the way to go. But okay, that's fine. We'll deal with that next time. This is definitely possible, though. We've gotten very close multiple times, but either way, let's show off the multiplayer team a little bit. This whole Ogre League type thing. Just kind of show off what's been found so far. So first of all, just point out this one's probably going to be one that's going to get a few people all mad. But for some reason, only the portrait would end up staying if I ended up doing them this way. And it's a massive, massive pain in the neck to set up portraits for all of them. So basically what I ended up doing is just leaving their generic looks, which in this case were, they were changed to look like Voltaire, so whatever. But, hold on one sec. Alright, so this one, I mean, is about as expected. It's basically a combination of the new versions and the old versions. It's like, for example, these two always had their weapon necklaces. Oh, jeez. Having a thing over iPads over here. But yeah, I got all their usual stuff, as one would expect. The Valmung got changed in terms of where it is. I'm not sure what that's all about, but oh well. Ended up actually changing this guy to the alternate version of his axe. Apparently this is what it will eventually become anyway, but the fact that he kept spamming the move constantly definitely became a bit of an annoyance. Alright, next one on the list. Done modifying it? Sure. So this one's for Mr. Vale. If I can find it here. There, sharing, caring. So originally the plan was to have the 4 golems up front here. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out that. Also, wait a minute, what? have them in the wrong order. Ah, crap, I have them in the wrong order. Anyway, it was supposed to be 2 ninjas, 2 dragoons. I'm gonna have to re-save them in a different order here, but yeah, basically 2 geomancers posing as ninjas. Because they have, basically they've got claymores in Night of Lotus, so Geomancer both looks like a darker version of the ninja, and can use 2-handers, so that works out nicely. And then zombie versions of dragoons, or white knights rather, for the what the hell, like the Hell Dragoons or whatever they were called, Reavers or something. And then the rest of it is his usual like Phase 1 team. So we got Cher here with his Ambition, and there's no Seraph's Plume in this one, so we got Cloud Shoes instead. He's actually one of the only ones that's going to get the Crest of Fire because of, you know, obvious it's frickin' OP reasons. And then yeah, Leth and Cervantes, which there's no Ink and Rose or anything like that. So instead, I used one-handed spears as a sort of fill-in for the one-handed thrusting swords. So like the Longinus replaced the Needle of Light and stuff like that. But other than that, they're still basically similar to their original ones. The usual like axe and hammer builds for the not quite demons there. So it felt like that one was relatively close at least. Again, the 4 golems are just so stupid OP that, like, in multiplayer I should say, because it's the only time you'll see a level 50 golem. They don't work in multiplayer at all. Hector's team basically just took his vanilla team in neutral. In neutral there, decided to give them better necklaces and things like that, so that they actually stand something of a chance. But yeah, so they all have wolf and cat earrings basically. But aside from that, yeah, they're just running their level 1 generic stuff. They've got some cool stuff in there. I added a short bow, even though that's technically the level 4 thing. It's fine, whatever. Just, you know, to kind of go for some of that vanilla feel there. I feel like it works pretty well. They generally do an okay job, but I wouldn't say they're anything mind-blowing. We got Astoria walls here. This is basically a mix of both sides of the Astoria castle fight here. So you got Nishart and Leaf here at the front, doing their thing. Got a few of the Duke Knights here that are going to be Knight Commander generics, more or less. Where they got Margaret over here with her whole situation. As with everything, everyone's going to be going at level 1 and then basically going up from there. As in all their skills come in at level 1, but they're all built to be able to use their particular build better. Just kind of build up as time goes on. So yeah, she's got all her build, her 2 archers here. One with a standard bow, one with the ice bow. I remember these things. I remember doing that fight over and over and over. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, Mr. Vale. Probably the one that you would have most wanted to see, wherever it is here. Yes, there is a Team Voluminous. there's a Debonair. So funnily enough, the Blade Knight, like, aside from the fact that there's actually technically two references to the original Ogre battles, samurais and stuff like that now. The Sonic Blade is both the skill and also a weapon. But yeah. I figured Sonic Blade, because that's supposed to be his weapon. Also to Crush the Highlands, I mean, technically they've got the highest score, although that's largely because the dragons are given like 2,000 score each for bizarro reasons. But yeah, so Sonic Blade, not necessarily the most amazing thing in the universe, but it fits his theme, it is his weapon after all. Falcon Mail, because of course he's got to have it. Greased Boots, because I assume that guy is all about everything being greasy, you know, wolf earring instead of... Like, I kept using a Gale Choker on him for a while, but it's just... wolf earring gives him so much more survivability. Not to mention, I mean, you'll notice none of his stuff here will boost agility. He was specifically set up in such a way that he has exactly about a 50% chance to hit all of the time. If anyone's ever watched any March of the Black Queen speedruns, you know why. Like, the funny part is that, yeah, he's one of the most RNG bits of many of those runs. Simply because he'll hit really hard, but he'll miss half the time for some reason. It's strange. But anyway, this is our reference to all 3 times that you see him. In the original March of the Black Queen, he comes in with 2 Wind Dragons. So they're right here. In the PS1 version, he comes in with 2 Fire Dragons for some reason, so they're right there, right next to him. In his OB64 version, he comes in with 2 Knights and an Enchantress, which, I mean, looks a bit different, but whatever, it's fine. And then over here, I figured Norn with a team of generic triple soldiers here, with a seal of Fortune spears and basic equipment. So I figured it was pretty fitting. Like, if they had more units, it probably would have been, his wife and some soldier units, because the dude's all about, I don't know, just leading from the front, I guess. So you probably would have had them there just as mascots. All right, next up, we got Ariel's team, the Rana Tempest. Which, by the way, I tried to give them all matching stuff, but hey, they're matching maps, but it's going to be weird one way or another. Went back and forth on how exactly her stuff should go, but I figure Lightning Pike makes sense. Kind of fills, Divine Spear, all kind of thing. Kind of looks like the Long Colonist, whatever. Thundercoat, like she comes in with Thunder Fists, because why not? Kraken Ring, because it's, I mean, somewhat defensive. It's kind of similar to the amulet she comes with. There's really no equivalent of it in this one, so eh. I mean, I could give her a resistance ring, but it's not really the same thing. Anyway, Minerva, pike, basic stuff, as you do. Crossbows, shields, everything evasion for the fairies. Funnily enough, the ninjas actually have better evasion than the fairies with similar setups. But yeah, mix of spears and lances. I basically used Damask as kind of the standard variant for all of these. And then, yeah, so fairly understandable there. I mean, they're going to be snake ladies instead of mermaids, but whatever, close enough. Let's see, who else? The Myrmidons are the neutral one, they're Soria Walls. Formidable. This one is a mix of the Formido and Cressida fights in Night of Lotus. Basically, mix of both their teams because it happened to fit exactly into the number needed here. It's got Cressida coming in first with her couple of units and the Berserker, all that kind of stuff. Pretty basic equipment on all of them. And we're basically using one-handed katanas here in place of the short swords from KOL. Then you got Grimmel here, coming in as a Knight Commander, because he technically is. Damask swords are standing in for the one-handed long swords, whereas the alternate variant is usually standing in for the claymores, except for cases where that just wouldn't make sense. Again, Damask and Crucible sitting in as the stand-in for some of those things. Got one guy with a short bow, one with a long bow, as you do. Remade them as accurately as I could remember, and then went back and double-checked them for the hell of it. But it should be all accurate, I hope. I mean, realistically, there's a lot that I don't expect to go well with it. Next we got Full Moon. That's Sirius from March of the Black Queen. He's actually one of the stronger ones. Comes in with his squad of 4 Amazons that he comes in with. As well as he's got a triple wizard team, he's got a bunch of basic soldiers all over the place, and 1 witch, so that works. I figured there is no dog class, so instead he's got a wolf earring and he's a dragonborn, so there we go. He's still got a helmet, he still punches things, it works. Next up. Okay, so next we got the Port Authority. This is a mix of 3 separate teams. So this is Stan, that's the first 4 that you run into at the very start of the game. Then you got Citri, who's going to be the guy with Matsukaze originally. Comes in with his ninjas and witches, and then you got is that all this one is? Yeah, that is what this one is. Oh yeah, and Mullen, who's the one that comes in as the second fight right after Stan. So there are the 3 port fights that you run into. And it's Port Authority. Stan, as expected, axe guy. And then we have a minor dispute over some Cheerios. Alright, seems like that's resolved itself. Mullen here, as you'd expect, fire, lightning. She has Thunder Flare, she has Spark Spear, nothing too mind-blowing there. And then the one different thing here is Citri, who I actually gave the Windbreaker instead of Matsukaze here. You need more Cheerios? Okay, just one moment. Okay, I'll bring... Alright, so the main reason that I went for this over, you know, his actual weapon thing, I felt like the fact that he looks different from the rest of his ninjas mattered a little bit more than his actual normal weapon there. The Windbreaker basically does the same thing anyway. I mean, the Matsukaze is basically the same deal, except it's just slightly longer. Still Wind Element, still gonna give him similar stuff. He's still not gonna be able to use a two-handed version of it one way or another. So, it does the job well enough. But yeah. So there's that one. And then I think that... Hang on, who's even left? We got Port Authority, got them. Sharing Caring. Team Voluminous. Bunch of broken saves because everything corrupted itself a while ago. I think that's all of them for now. So the rest are still going in as time permits. Obviously, with every single one of them having full everything, it takes a dang long time to make all this happen. But, you know, doing as we do here. It's actually surprising how many of these ones made it. Though it is funny because a lot of them end up breaking the game. Let's see here. Where's Rocks? I'm gonna have the Rocks fight somebody. This is going to crash the game, but it's just a funny effect that happens. Because earlier I was thinking, like, okay, you know, how overpowered are these golems? I need to have them go fight something. And we'll see why that's hilarious in a moment. Alright. So then with this, we're just going to go ahead and end it. So why do you think this would crash the game? Just wondering if there's any theories. Oh, I forgot to... Oops. I forgot to do the thingy. First of all, we gotta have proper stuff here, so we gotta have quick skill rank up, because that's gonna happen every time. Basically, that means they gain a level every time they attack or use a skill. Makes it pretty fun, and gives everyone a bit of a chance. Also means that they're still gaining skill ups very quickly, even when they miss. Where's auto battle at? Because it's all quiet all of a sudden. Where are you, auto battle? I really need to clean up this cheat list. It's a total mess. It's a complete unmitigated disaster. And there's also a possibility I turned off auto battle. Oh, there it is. Alright. Yeah, I tried to delete some of this list. And that ended up breaking some other stuff. Blah, 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 blah. Alright, enable them. There we go, now they're all automatic. And basically that's what I'm going to use for the tournament, so that everybody's set to the same AI, we don't have to worry about anything. I believe it sets them all to melee, which seems to work just fine. I will say originally I tried setting everybody to all these different types of AIs and everything else, and there's a lot of them that have a tendency to get stuck in weird spots of the map. Truth be told, for all of the thought that they put into giving everybody the dialogue and, you know, being able to do all this other stuff, it's weird how the maps and the actual AI, well, they don't work. like most of the maps give a massive advantage to somebody. In fact, I probably should relegate all the fights to this particular map. But even then, some like the ones that end up coming in with Rampartor are going to have a massive advantage. But anyway, take any guesses as to why this will crash? It should crash in about 3 rounds, and I'll be right back. Alright, so you've already seen some of it, but generally speaking, yeah, the reason it's going to crash is because, well, everybody on the map is using Gunblades. However, the only one that's not allowed to have the secondary effect, as far as I understand, the little boom effect, is going to be the Golems. So we'll see how that goes. But I mean, so far it hasn't crashed. It'd be kind of amazing if it actually didn't this time around, if they just never decided to use them. Honestly, I'm a little bit surprised that the Golems using them isn't crashing anything. Maybe it's because this is an older version or something. Actually, part of it's probably just due to Heaven's Tear not being on, and like, really that was the move. It was like Tactician 2 plus Heaven's Tear meant that they could more or less completely dominate another team. Like, all it took was 4 of them to beat all of the end boss team, hell, both end boss teams. Like, it was a complete and total crush. Although, hilariously, yeah, this is actually not crashing this time around. Go figure. Well, anyway, so that'll be where we're wrapping it up for today. Again, there might be some time next week. I don't know for sure. Truth be told, I expect to be working to the bone until surgery happens. Gotta basically come up with all the income for about a month and a half, plus everything that's behind, and in a week. Well, hell, most of a week. So I don't know exactly how it's all gonna go, but there's a lot of prep to do, and hopefully once all's said and done, stuff will be stable. Or maybe I've been lied to the last couple of weeks and it's all just gonna face plant, but you know. With any hope, we'll see how it goes. So, you guys have a good one. Take care. Stay safe. Hopefully, you know, next time this happens, maybe all this pandemic stuff will be gone. Mr. Vale, hope everything goes well with all your infusions and everything soon. Really hope that they stay covering it all, and hopefully they'll cover more of it in the future. But you know, stay sane through all that nonsense. So, you guys take care. Like I was saying,